Let's go.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my video about my trip to Mount Olympus in 2025. We'd found the Yankia, we'd been through the woods and found some fantastic stuff. It was time to get a bit higher. But
Just before we race off today, let's take a minute to talk about the history and the mythology behind one of the world's most famous mountains.
Mount Olympus has the highest peak in Greece, Mytikas, at 2,918 metres. It is the fabled home of 12 gods in ancient Greek mythology and has the throne of Zeus himself. The mountain was considered a place of divine power, its peak often shrouded in clouds to hide the celestial realm from mortals. The games were named after Mount Olympus, but were actually held in Olympia and were part of a larger religious festival held every 4 years to honour Zeus. I guess we'd better head up there to see him.
Today's a big one. I didn't want it to be a big one, but Adrian Young told me you've got to go to Prionia and you've got to walk up to the refuge. That's quite a steep 3-hour walk. Then the best plants are above the refuge. Now, I rang up the refuge about 2 weeks ago asking if they had any places, and they were full. Bearing in mind there's 100 beds there, so it's a very, very popular area. So today I've got to do the 3-hour walk, and then I've got to do another however long to get to the best plants. One of the target species today is Omphalodis luciliae.
Luciliae!
So we'll see what happens. Wish me luck.
Well, before I even started the walk, I found this lovely little orchid, Limitorum arbotivum, not quite in flower. Here it is on the right in the Maritimes in May. Almost gone over. Tricky to get the season right sometimes.
Right, I'm on the trail. Let's see if we can shave a bit off this 3 hours thing. All I've got to do is not get distracted by plants. Easy. This tiny little thing is absolutely perfect. I'm not sure of the name at the moment. It's a little wintergreen. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous?
Well, not getting distracted by plants didn't last long, did it? Okay, here's one of my favourite little orchids, this green little chap, Twayblade. Used to be Listra ovata, now Neotia, or Neotia. I've heard people call it Neotia. I think it maybe Neotia, I don't know. Here's another little Neotia, the bird's nest orchid. Now, I thought this was a broom rape, but someone pointed out to me I had my identification wrong, and actually, as I now know, these are easily identified. The Orobanches, the broom rapes, have a 3-lobed lip, and this little orchid has a 2-lobed lip. Here it is in the Maritimes, just at the start of its flowering period. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And yeah, as it gets older, it does look a little bit like a broom rape. Here's a broom rape in Poland. Wonderful colours. Another orchid, this Gymnodenia canopsia, the chalk fragrant orchid, and as the name suggests, beautiful fragrance from it. Now, this wonderful little white centurion, and there's something divine about this flower. I love centurions, and I first fell in love with them in Val d'Isere, where there's Centuria uniflora. There's lovely pink magenta flowers, but this one, this white with these little purpley bits in it, absolutely something regal, something divine about it. Yes, it's a gorgeous little thing. These two line them up here. This one extremely garden worthy. Look at this, elegans. What a beautiful, lovely, rich yellow. And this other one, this little sort of mauvey blue one, spathulatum. Now, I thought it was doing really well. I got to around about the halfway point in about 40 minutes. I thought this is going to be easy. But of course, what you can't tell from maps is the vertical distance. Time for some more distractions.
Just come across this beautiful Daphne. I was in Greece with Vera Natura earlier this year in April, and we saw some plants of this, so they were just out of their winter dormancy. And here I've seen it in flower, and it really is a beautiful little thing. I didn't realise quite how beautiful it would be. Let's see if it's got a smell. Sadly not. And I'm not going to kiss it because they're poisonous. But Daphne oleoides. Absolute cracker.
So up and up we went and finally broke free of the woodland, and then we started to see some of the views both out to the sea and also up to the peaks where we were headed for. Beautiful, immaculate rock gardens here, kept by the gods. And we started to see things like this little toad flax. Would you kiss a toad? I would, this one. And then a true endemic of Mount Olympus, Cerastium theophrasti. Little mouse ear there. A new one to me, I didn't know what this was. Member of the deadly nightshade family. Atropa belladonna. In Italian, of course, that means beautiful woman, indeed. Saw this one a couple of weeks before, if you remember, in the Abruzzi, Ibis saxatilis. Nice to see it again. Then let's have a look at some Campanulaceae. Now we've got this one up here, Campanula lingulata, and it's not the best plant. But what I really like about this, look at the arrangement of the flowers, the flower head there. Tubular flowers sort of grouped together. Now, the next plant, which was a real beauty up here, was this Edrianthus graminifolius. Once again, we saw this in the Abruzzi a couple of weeks before. Same family, of course, as the Campanula, lingulata, different genus. Does the flower head arrangement remind you of anything? You just wonder in evolution where they split, you know, and what happened, which came first. Interesting stuff. A million brilliant forms, and I didn't get one decent photo. Sorry about that. You'll have to go up there and see it for yourselves. Lovely, lovely thing. And then this. Almost endemic to Olympus. Does grow other places, but here it's quite abundant. Rare sightings elsewhere, so a really good find. And I don't know why this plant isn't better known in cultivation, because it's an absolute cracker. Campanula, oreadum, lovely stuff. As I said, it was really hot in the valleys, and I was wondering if we'd find any decent early spring things flowering up here. Imagine my surprise when this happened.
Check this out, we've got a bit of snow. Who knows what might be flowering on the edge of that. Now, I don't know if you can see here, but up there's some bright pink stuff in the rock. See if we can zoom in and get a focus on it. Can you see that? I don't know what it is, but it looks very, very exciting. Okay, this stunning little plant here is Viola delphinantha. Now the book kept saying about it all the time, that it grows up here, and I was like, oh yeah, another Viola, yeah, whatever. But this is absolutely beautiful. This is perhaps the most beautiful Viola I've ever seen. Let's have a closer look at it. Look at those beautiful, delicate little pink flowers. Some are quite a pale pink, some are more intense magenta, and here we can see that lovely long spur that's got on the back of the flower. Now the leaves are really interesting. They're needle-like leaves, quite different to any other violas. What a gorgeous little thing! And I spied this across the snow patch from quite a long way away, and this wonderful rock is absolutely smothered in these little violets. Okay, while the sun's out, let's give it a kiss. Viola delphinantha, divine in anther.
Yes, I see what he did there.
Where the hell is this bloody refuge? I'm trudging up here for 2.5 hours now.
Finally, I arrive with fantastic views.
Right, 3 hours to up there apparently. What do you reckon? I reckon I can do it. Less. 2.5.
Now it was time to head upwards, pump it, get to the top and get back down. The mission had started. The race was on. First thing I saw was this lovely member of the umbels. A bit like a big buplurum. Lovely thing. Next was this Saxifraga scardica. Now I'd been seeing this all the way up, even as far down as Prionia by the car park. There were the rosettes of this were everywhere, but I'd not found it in flower until I got further up. Again, showing the importance of altitude. A little bit cooler, season a bit later, seeing it in flower. And then this little chap, which I was really, really excited about seeing. Let's get the silly bit out of the way first.
Oh, hello. Fancy seeing you here. Look at this. That is Saxifraga sempervivum. I've waited a long, long time to see. I keep saying that, don't I? I've waited a long time to see this, but I really have. Years ago, when garden centres still used to sell good Alpines, I bought one of these from, I think it was Notcuts, near Solihull. I didn't know what it was really at the time. I just knew it was a nice little species, Saxifraga. The version I bought is nothing like as good as this. Let's have a closer look. So isn't that just a wonderful thing? A lovely plum-coloured purplish petal. Quite often the foliage is quite needle-like. It's an absolute stunning little flower. What a wonderful thing.
Oh, for God's sake.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's have a closer look at these Engleria Saxifraga, which are one of my favourite groups of Saxifraga. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago we were in Italy with Tim Roberts looking at Saxifraga porifila, and we pulled up a chart to look at the various sections of naming this. So we've got section Porphyrion, subsection Porphyllum, series Engleria. Now we have only 6 species in this series and 1 subspecies. So Porphylla we found in Italy. I'd found Saxifraga media before in the Pyrenees. We've now seen Saxifraga sempervivum, and also on Olympus we've seen Saxifraga Federici Augusti, subspecies Grisbacchii. Now let's have a look at the distribution of these Engleria saxes. Porphylla here, central Italy. Media here in the Pyrenees. Sempervivum here across the Balkan Peninsula.
And also some outlying colonies further to the east.
Federici augusti and the subspecies Grisbacii. This shows the distribution for both of them.
The beautiful little yellow species Corymbosa, which also has outlying colonies further to the east, and the lovely little Strabrinii.
Now, does this remind you of anything? Remember the Gesneriad distribution we looked at earlier?
Let's make all our Engleria species red. Now we'll pull up the Gesneriad chart. Let's make all of these this little green checkered thing. Now let's overlay them. Let's put them together.
All in the same line. Now, why? What is the link? There must be a link.
If they were all clustered in the Balkans, it'd be one thing. But it's these two outlying species here, Ramonda myconi and Saxifraga media. That's what makes you start thinking that somehow these Engleria saxifraga and the Gesneriads are linked. And then why this Engleria saxifraga in the Abruzzi and then no Gesneriad there?
Curious, isn't it?
And although, of course, the Gesneriad family goes right around the world, there are no others in Europe.
And there are no other Engleria saxifraga anywhere else in the world. It's all joined up together here. Why? Are these Engleria saxifraga also pre-glacial species, relics from that bygone time? I'm not sure. Apparently they're not that old, but who knows? Were these the first Saxifraga and everything else descended from them? So many questions. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to leave you to think about that one because you've heard enough of my rambling for today. Come back and join me in part 3 where I attack the Kala Scala and see if I do indeed find Saxifraga spruneri and Omphalodes lucidea.